No, we're waiting for Bryce. Okay, I have 7 o'clock. Before I call the meeting to order, I will announce that I am not running for election. And I have many thank yous that I want to do, and I will do them at a later date. I'll call the Committee of the Whole meeting for September the 13th, 2017 to order. First item on our agenda is confirmation of the agenda.
Your Worship, I'm prepared to make a motion if you're looking for one.
Please.
I'd move the adoption of the agenda as presented.
We have a motion to confirm the agenda as presented. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the delegation, and we will do that in open council. And so, Ms. Hebbs, please.
Good evening, Your Worship, councillors, and all the other important people. I won't waste your time by just reading what you've already got in front of you. I can just touch on the highlights, and if you have any questions, just ask them at any time. And also, if you have a question that you think of after tonight when you ask me or whatever, feel free to email me or call me or whatever at any time also. So, just an overview as far as how we outlined our deliverables and how we're gonna measure them. That's just kind of the format I've set up for reporting on what we've been doing. So the executive director, he has been hired, there's a contract in place, and he's working his butt off already. He puts in the amount of hours that we pay him for, and he puts in a boatload of volunteer hours as well, so that's kind of cool. He's into it, not just into the paycheck, so that's always nice to see. And the problem we're running into is that, I guess theoretically, your executive director handles all your day-to-day everything sort of thing, and I don't think for us it's going to work into that sort of a setup. I think our own board members are still going to have their finger on all the day-to-day stuff, and we just, at this point anyways, and the executive director is doing a lot of doing and keeping track of like the stuff that he's doing as well and pulling some pieces together. But as far as the day-to-day stuff, like financial stuff and all that kind of things that you would expect a traditional executive director to handle, it's not really that set up. We can't afford to pay him enough hours to do that, so it's just us volunteers kind of doing that right now. Maybe that'll change someday, but for right now, that's how it is. The summer months have been predictably slow, with people on holidays and all the other stuff going on in our community and county and everything. Now, as we're just rolling into our busy time now, usually kind of the middle to end of September is when we really start picking up with programming and stuff, so we'll see a lot more action there. Having said that, we've been very busy all summer. We did run one summer camp in each of July and August. We were going to go every single week, but we just didn't have the registrants for a few reasons. Maybe we were charging too much. We were a little late advertising while we were waiting on funding and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of excuses we can make. But what it did give us a chance to do was give it a trial run. So now we can go back to the think tank and make some adjustments and figure out how to make it work a little better for next year. And get our advertising out really early. We're a couple months behind all the other summer camps that we're advertising. And, but we did carry on through the summer with a lot of our free programming. We have disabled on Fridays, we have a teen night on Wednesday nights, and we have a seniors on Tuesday afternoons, and that's largely free. It's like a $5 charge for supplies or whatever, but it's largely free. Some of that is funded by other things. The Serb County grants actually fund the disabled programming and the seniors programming. At this point, we have no specific funds earmarked for the free teen nights, but we're working on that as well. And as well, where the teen night, of course, because it's free, everything free is extremely popular, has been very popular. We get anywhere from 8 to 25 kids come on the Wednesdays for that. And we're going to start a free pre-teen night. And I believe we're going to start implementing just a $2 charge for some supplies because we believe they can handle that. We've talked about charging for these teen nights, but it will definitely exclude certain demographics. And some of those demographics, like the kids that have no money are out on the streets doing nothing perhaps, those are really the ones we want to target. So we simply can't see a way to make it not free, which means we're going to have to focus on finding specific funding for that. And we have some plans in mind. We just need to get them rolling and do that. Much is being done in the way of advertising and promotion all along, right through the summer and everything. We do some paid advertising, but we sort of keep that to a minimum because we found it's not really our best avenue for advertising anyways. What we do try to do is hit all of the really inexpensive type things that we can do, like there's different spring markets and the children's festivals and things like that where your tables may be between $10 or $30 and you get to have that one-on-one talk with people and hand out your information and stuff like that. And then we're in Kinsman Park with the Let's Get Wrecked and the Canada 150 and all that kind of stuff that's really inexpensive to be at. That's where we really focus our energy as far as promotion. And then of course we've been doing that community mosaic, which we will have the unveiling at Culture Days, which is the end of this month. And we'll unveil that at a free pancake breakfast on the Saturday. So we're doing things like that for advertising. We do have extensive advertising on Macaroni Kids. I don't have kids, so I didn't even know about it, but apparently that's the place to look if you have kids and you're wondering what to do with them. So we're working pretty close with Aya Hughes, and that's going well. We're blessed to have a website guy on our board, so we're working on a new website and we're getting ourselves on Facebook and doing all that stuff that also gets you a lot of mileage for advertising. The gallery is operational and consistently accepting art for display. We just charge 20% commission and we've actually been making some sales. We've also started work on the art in business platform that we want to do. We have art at Studio 86, Beltone Hearing, and it says here we're going to get a collection in the Valley Medical Clinic, but it is already up, so we have that in place. And then we're going to approach some more businesses and work on that even more. Regarding the collaborative ventures with local groups, as you can see on your notes there, we're working with the Municipal Library and the Historical Society and the Town of Strathmore, 5 for Life. The Youth Center, we haven't got in heavy with them yet. We've just done little bits here and there. We still need to brainstorm on how to really connect with them and help them out. The Ag Society, we worked with them. The Musical Society, I can't actually say we are actively working with them. We were going to get them to have some music during the Culture Days, but we did not get funding to be able to pay for some entertainment there, so we won't be with them there. And Hope Bridges will connect with some more Strathmore theater players. We haven't done too much except we volunteer back and forth for working casinos. But we'll find ways we can work with them too. And same with Hope Bridges. Right now, we don't work with Hope Bridges per se, but we do have a verbal agreement in place that we will try not to run the same programming that they're running at the same time. Plus they have sort of their pet programs, like their upcycling and stuff. We just won't even touch something like that. That's their go-to thing, so we just wouldn't do that. And even some things that they do have, if we're going to offer it, we just make sure we don't offer it at the same time. And there is some talk of that we could do the kids because they only do art for adults. So say they have an adults class doing something at a certain time, we might across the street have a kids something at the same time so they can dump the kids and go do their own fun stuff and then just pick the kids up and go home. But that's not actually in place yet, so we still need to talk on that. As far as the summary, the notes are all there for you. Look quickly because it's not pretty. Of course, there's a lot more money going out than coming in. That is to be expected in the summer for us. And it's also the reason why we were asking for the funding, because we knew we had to get through this spending hump to get that promotion and get the following and get all that stuff out there. I mean, I have to admit the numbers are too big for me, like the discrepancies between outgoing and incoming are too big for me, and we've got a few meetings planned to really look at that and pick the numbers apart and see what we can do. I mean, I suppose in the real picture things, people that are used to working with numbers, they're not very big numbers, but just for little old me, they're big numbers. And we need to address it because we can't continue like this. If it's going like this and there's a specific end and it's going to gain us something, that's all well. But we definitely need to really dig into those numbers and figure out why they are what they are and if it's working and where we can make changes and stuff like that. So we're very aware of the outgoing being so much more than the incoming for right now. And then, there is that one big grant that the town, having given us the money they did, was the matching funding for that big provincial grant. We don't hear about that until November, and so we'll know then. And then in December, we actually work our next casino, so by February, we should see that funding too. So I believe we're in good shape. It's just the ride getting to there is a little scary. But if you have any comments on any of this, or you see anything that really jumps out of, or you have some big insights, feel free to share them, and we'll definitely investigate them, given all you people's experience with things in general. So I guess if you have some questions, I would be glad to answer them for you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Walls.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I think I've seen it here, Brandy, but just refresh my memory. It's membership for the year is how much again?
$20.
$20 for the year. Is that for an adult, kid, senior? Doesn't matter. $20 just.
It's
Across the
supposed
board.
to be half of that for youth. But we don't really have many youth getting memberships, taking out memberships. And that's actually, we want to work on that because we want to have a youth-driven, like, group. Like, maybe they could, I don't know what it'll look like, but they would have their own committee and they could decide what classes they wanted, and they could have their little meetings, and some of us would be there, so they could see what it costs to get an instructor and plan who they want and see the different costs, and just, start as the start of kids doing that for their adult life, right? And just get them into that in a sort of a fun way. But currently, we don't actually have many youth memberships, and we can address that. We're just so used to not having youth that it's hard to get used to that. But and right now, a lot of the youth stuff is free, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you have a membership or not. But we will definitely be. That's one of the things on our list for the financial think tank to get looking at. And
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Walls. Councillor Sobel.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thanks for that, all that information, Brandy. So can you share the name of the executive director with us?
yeah, Ken Barassa.
And anticipating an effort to spread the word once again, do you guys have a website or a Facebook up?
Yep, we have both a website and Facebook.
Okay. I should know that, and I don't,
Yep,
but
that's no
thank
problem.
you.
It takes time to get it all out there. I mean, we've actually been around since 1986, and 98% of Strathmore doesn't even know we're here. So, no problem there. But,
working on it.
yeah, if you just Google Wheatland Arts, you'll find the website and the Facebook and everything.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Sobel. Councillor Peterson.
Thanks for the presentation. It's impressive in its thoroughness. Did you give us a number of members? I don't remember.
Oh, I did not bring that. Right now, we're probably at, these are adults. I think there's 2 youth in the mix, maybe. I believe 81.
That's sound.
81.
That is
In
good.
January, we had 17.
Yeah,
That's very
that is
good.
very good in 1 year. Yeah.
But the only thing is too, lots of people don't become a member to take classes. Like, we have lots of participation. People, if they just come take one class, they won't take a membership. So we kind of have the 2 different prices. But we do price them so that it's in their best advantage to have the membership, because then we get to contact them when we have stuff going on and stuff like that. But yeah, the membership is growing like crazy, and I try to keep track also of the people that take classes but aren't actually membership. And I think right now there's 40 or 50 of those, and 40 or 50 kids as well that aren't officially a member but have taken classes.
It's an impressive first 6 months or 4 months, whatever
Well,
you've been. How long has it been now since you opened
We've
your
really
doors?
been going since maybe February, kind of.
But since you opened the doors in the building,
We opened the doors officially in January 21st.
January. Okay.
Yeah, and then, but the programming actually started
Yep.
in February, so
Yep.
that's really when we were starting to
It's
do
very
stuff.
impressive.
It's pretty fun, and that's
Yep.
our goal, right? We don't want to just keep offering more and more for the same little group of people, because that's what we've been doing for 15 years already. We want to be reaching as many people as we can. And we have some of this free seniors and disabled programming, and I guess even the youth. So our next thing is going to be, finding funding sources to get those people there now. Like, the seniors, if they don't have transportation there or whatever, they can't partake. So we're looking at, we got that FCSS grant that Oh yeah, I didn't actually realize how tight that was with the town. Had we known that was actually town money, we probably wouldn't have applied for it because you've already been so generous. But anyways, that is going to be earmarked for getting the people to the studio now. And I'm not sure what that'll look like. Maybe a couple different taxis that do a milk run and gather up 3 or 4 or
Yeah.
5 people each and then pick them up and take them all back home
Yeah.
again. And we definitely want to expand this out into the county as well, because that CERB county,
Yeah.
the county grant, that CERB grant is county money too. So we definitely need to expand that too.
But my last comment, and I don't know if you can confirm it or not, but I've noticed that since the zombie apocalypse hit Second Avenue, that you've been much busier. So with all the building downtown, that I see a lot of people in there wandering by, looking
Yeah.
in the windows, going in.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah,
I
so
think,
there's been some advantages, to Third,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we actually, at the Alberta Culture Days, we had this great idea. We're gonna have Taste of Downtown. And so we have these big raffle prizes and we're hoping to make them really big and desirable. And then to enter, they just buy something downtown and that's their entry ballot. They just put a sticker on with their name. And so hopefully we can drive people to the downtown to walk around and check out some of the other places too. Cause it's actually surprising, I'm downtown all the time. And then you're like, oh my God, where did this store come up? Like even now, right?
Yep.
Like I haven't noticed because, you don't force yourself to walk around down there. And that way the construction's been not all bad because I think there's more people
I think so, walking,
around down
exactly, that's
there.
what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think the art gallery has really led to that walkability, so. Anyway,
that's awesome.
I really thank you for your report. It's really informative. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Peterson. Deputy Mayor Graychuck.
Thank you, Your Worship. First off, very good presentation. I'm impressed, Brandy. My statement is more of a comment. One of the things that convinced me to really get involved with the arts or have you people come here fund you, was what the mayor, I talked to the mayor Airdrie, and he says that he's the one that really talked me into going along with the Art Society and helping you out, because he said that's one of the best things they ever did in Airdrie. He says it brings people in from all over the country.
Yeah.
He says, and the people talk about it. Says it literally in a lot of ways put their city on the map. He says it's one of the best things they ever did. So, are you in collaboration with art? I'm sure you've talked to the other artists. Is that?
Actually, I've spoken with the people from Airdrie back when we had the Arts Collective. And they have a pretty strong arts group there too. And so we talked with some people there about what they've done and how they were promoting it and stuff like that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they started out really strong and then it did kind of wane a little bit. But I think that will be the nature of arts too, right? People are really excited and they come and check it out, and some of them lose interest, and then your true art people still keep hanging around, but some people are just checking it out because it's something to think out. Was like something to check out is the impression I got from talking to them. So it kind of comes and goes depending what you have going on.
That's what anything, though. I mean, you can find that in any walk of life, that those sort of things can happen. But
Yeah.
so don't give up. Keep up the good work. Very impressed.
It's daunting sometimes, I tell you.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
It's so worth it sometimes when you see those kids come in there and do their art and stuff, so that's good. And then I guess the other thing I was gonna mention is the reporting that we do. It will be like this, like we just choose to be completely transparent. Like if it's looking to you like it's not working, then clearly it's gonna be looking to us like it's not working too. So we'll always just make sure we have the numbers right out there, and anything you wanna ask or know, just do so. And we're just not wanting to hide anything to make anything look better than it is or anything. This is gonna be a big job. The arts is not a money-making machine. We know that. We just deeply believe in the value of arts, and it's always gonna be a struggle. It's never gonna just pure pay for itself. We're always gonna have to chase funding. I believe that. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work, but we're gonna do it.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Graychuck, and thank you very much for the presentation tonight, Brandy. And I also want to compliment you on the art display that was at the Strathmore Stampede in the wine room. What was that called?
Wine cellar.
The wine cellar.
The wine cellar?
Yep.
It was very, very nice to see, and it spoke volumes in regards to our artists in this community, so.
Oh, good. It was fun to
Great
do.
job, thank you.
Thank you.
No, that's all.
That's good.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Next item on our agenda is minutes for the July 12th, 2017 Committee of the Whole. We have a motion to accept the minutes of the July 12th, 2017 Committee of the Whole. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Worship, I move to go into committee of the whole.
We have a motion to go in committee of the whole. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. First item on our agenda under committee of the whole is curbside waste and recycling carts. So, I'm sorry. Councillor Walls, you have something that you wish to mention.
Your worship, I believe there would be a perceived conflict of interest, and therefore I'll excuse myself during this conversation.
Before we accept that, I want to confirm that there is a conflict of interest with us in committee of the whole and where we're receiving information. So,
It's up to the discretion of the individual member of council to determine that. It's not up to council.
okay.
So that is his privilege and also his discretion.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will accept that then from Councillor Walls. So please show Councillor Walls as leaving. So we will turn the presentation over to Mark. Thank you.
So, counts. The main function of tonight is, I guess, touch and feel. Was the we had brought this forward in the last council, and it was brought forward that the first thing we wanted to do is really get a feel for the actual product that we're recommending. So, the current cards. Card. So the recommendation currently to council was for IPL. They were the lowest priced and best value from administration's point of view. These are the cards that are in question. This is the actual color and actual size of the solid waste oats cart that for the first 4 months would be your trash and your recyclables. We don't have a recycle cart at this time. And this was going to be in April. We introduced a 32-gallon green cart, smaller volume and size. There were 5 suppliers that gave us prices and quotes. All 5 of them provided a minimum of a 10-year warranty. So every single one has a 10-year warranty. We had in there 5,000 of about this size. And we gave a range of size, because each vendor, you'll see here, has slightly different sizes, a couple gallons difference. So we didn't want to exclude anyone. So we have 5,000 of these, 5,000 of these color, and then we were actually going to get another 5,000 of these green ones for the value upsize option. In addition, we didn't bring the kitchen catcher, but we have a little kitchen catcher, 4-liter kitchen catcher, which is included in that total price that we showed at the last council. Currently, this is the green cart. This exact one is the green cart in Calgary. This is exactly the same. They just bought 400,000 of them, Bryce, something like that? Yep. Of these carts. This is exactly the pilot program carts that they used in the city of Calgary pilot program. So when they did the pilot program, they started with the smaller carts, went with this, and then ultimately they decided to have 3 similar size. And so the city of Calgary has this one for their green carts. They actually have this one, the other one, for their black cart. And their blue cart, we don't have an example of, it's IPL as well, but it's a different style. Older model.
Heavy.
Right. It's heavier, yeah. It's like this one versus, these are all relatively the same size we've got here. These 3 big ones are all the same size, and the small ones are relatively all the same volume of product. When you come up to touch and feel these, you'll see inside, this one's pretty smooth, very little to catch on. Same with this one. There is the only real, there's some difference in products, thickness, rigidity, all that kind of stuff, but again, they all were evaluated on their warranty. There's some differences on the wheels, obviously, that was a concern. There's some differences also on the different products. Some of them have like hot stamped, so it's actually melted in, where, for example, these ones, they're actually just stamped on, right, which rub off, right? So, obviously, these ones that we have are also hot flex. Bryce, do you have any other comments on the product itself?
You've covered most of it.
There is, when you feel them, there is a difference. Based on our assessment, it's really hard to justify the difference in price, right? From the low guys to the next one up. We're talking in the order of, wrong piece of paper. Sorry.
Do you want to ask a question now, Steve?
Yes, what's the life expectancy of any of these carts? You have 10-year warranty, but is there life expectancy, is there rules in there?
They stated in their brochure that they have a 10-year warranty with a 20-year extreme weather life expectancy. That was in their brochures.
That just that one, or?
That's what's in their brochures. We didn't go into every single, review every detail of all 5 of them.
If I could say, most of them that
Yeah.
I've experienced, they can go 20 years. It depends on sort of where they are, but yeah. I've
And
seen-
Bryce, on you made a comment on the city of Calgary, they had a what replacement rate on their,
It's, generally, the, City of Calgary ran the IPL cards and re-rig cards, and there was less than a 1% damage return rate during the pilot programs and during the cart program, the blue cart program, for the IPL cards.
Before we get there, which ones are you recommending?
these are the 2 that are the IPL carts. So this is the large size. So the intent, what our current plan is ultimately, when we go to the blue cart, we come along and we pop these off, put a brand new lid on top, a blue lid on top of this, and then we would go get not necessarily, could be another vendor, it doesn't really matter, similar size to this for the black cart, and then we have the green cart. So then we have, this has equivalent of about 4 bags, this has equivalent of about 2 bags. So we were thinking ultimately 4 plus 2 plus 2 gives us 8 bags. Currently our limit is 3 bags, so we'll be increasing our service level. With the option of people being able to go for a 4 bag and 4 bag for the organics. There's some users that, are gardeners or heavy, they may want this. The reason we went with this is some of the comments we got from Denise and others about moving it with your older seniors, moving these, getting the things, space. If you think about a new house and a 20-foot garage with a 16-foot garage door opener, you've got 2 feet on each side, right? This is going to be very tight. You gotta put it sideways to get that 2 feet against your garage right here. For this one, you could actually wheel it this way and then just wheel it back out, right? So that's one of the, thinking about that. There's other ones that we have are some of our downtown lanes are really narrow, right? So trying to get, still having the option for lane pickup. So there's a lot of things that the administration looked at in terms of deciding the size of these. However, like I talked about last time, if we don't wanna go with the, what is the correct size? This is, we believe this matches the current service level that was asked of us, right? Gives a little bit more, gives us flexibility to smaller, has the ability for heavy users to upsize, which I think we could offer that program, or we could not. That's roughly on the low bidder, $20,000 extra carts that we have to buy. So and that will be recovered over time if we actually charge that back to the differential, or we can go with a free program too. Our belief is that there's a difference in price in these two boxes. If they give this one back, they just pay the difference. That was basically our idea. Now, that's a council decision, obviously. but there is a significant difference in from the low bidder to the high bidder. The high bidder was 65% more than the low bidder. So we were,
65 or good?
yeah, 65, the highest bidder, which is not shown here, is 65. And the second highest was 52% higher. The third highest was 32% higher. And then the second highest or lowest was 20% higher in terms of overall cost. And you have the cost that we were presenting. So, and those are, we're just talking about the different vendors. We're not talking about the sizes, right? So if we went to different sizes, we would be changing.
Can I add a little piece, if I may? When we last spoke in May to council about just the really rough numbers, after that discussion, we went away and my directive to staff was get the least possible cost for the whole program, the cards, the whole enchilada. And so the staff have worked very hard to try and do that, to try and squeeze as much as we can to make the program affordable with the least cost and get it into that $5 or less range. I think the staff have achieved that. That said, we can make adjustments should council wish. But we really, that's where we've been working, because when we were discussing it back in May, we were looking at higher original numbers, and those were just very general ballpark numbers for council to consider. So I'm wondering if council wants to come and look at the cards. If you haven't had a chance, there's a whole bunch of cards here. You want to?
Yeah, we'll look at the cards. And while we're doing that, no, go ahead. I'm just gonna ask Mark a quick question. When you say you got a 10-year warranty on them, so on the 9th year, if one gets damaged, destroyed, whatever, we only get 1 year's value out of that cart? I mean, it's not gonna be a full return.
What's the warrant?
It's a full replacement.
Full replacement warranty.
Depending on the damage.
Like if the-
Damage has to be due to manufacturer, not because a car ran over it or something. They wouldn't get replaced for that, but if it's a manufacturer defect, then it's a replacement of the car.
See the wind blows doors, all
I
right?
just can't look into
I've seen the wind blow all of those carts.
Yeah, I've had this card in Calgary.
I'm just thinking of my yard. I've got a big yard, but I hold it takes a lot of grass.
So I just got this cart and they delivered it 3 weeks in the summer, 3 weeks early before I started collecting it. And I live on a bungalow and I have a 60-foot by 110-foot deep lot on a bungalow lot. So I have a big backyard and I mow it. So I mow it every week and I have dew worm, so I collect all my lawn clips and I drop them into here. For all 3 weeks in the summer, I mean, it was a little dry, so it didn't grow all that fast. Plus I have a fairly large garden. I only filled it up, and my kids are adamant. They're like hardcore into this organic separation, which is kind of at first it's like, no, now it's good. But they we filled it up halfway on this one, right? And when actually this supplier over here dropped off there, they really liked these size, they said, because if you actually filled this up with wet organics, that would be 300 pounds of movement, right? So, this is weight. And you have too many curves in here, I can just see some of the organics being stuck in this kind of thing. They do say that, if you put some grease on it, that'll help get it slippery and clean, right? So, they're all good, they're all excellent products, right? Any other questions or?
Councillor Sobel? I hope he was first.
Well, I have a few.
Okay.
But I would just start with I guess, I don't know where to start, but I'll just start with a comment, just because we've just reviewed those. So one of the things that I am concerned about is if you look at the lip on the IPLs versus the ones on, those are called, those are,
These are shorter, these ones back in here, these shorter.
total.
Yeah.
So if you look at this, there's about 3/4 of an inch of a lip here.
Yeah.
1/4 of an inch, and even less here. So I'm concerned about that, and the other concern I have about the differences in regards to the wheels, which protrude on the IPLs. And I took specific effort this week to look at the automated pickup service, and of course, you're dealing with two, I don't know what you want to call them, prongs or arms that circle the item, and as they bring them up, they're banging them to empty the product into the truck, whatever. And what I've noticed on the 120, the smaller ones, is that it slides through. So I'm surprised at the 1% that was returned, because I can just see these wheels all popping off here in no time. That would be my suggestion. But I do want to, and I'm not sure, I know Mel's not here, but I'm hoping somebody can answer this question, because it's in regards to the cost or the anticipated revenue generated from this. So if I understand this correctly, if we charge $5 a month per residence, 4,000 residences, is that correct? 4,000? Are we dealing with about 4,000? So $20,000 a month revenue. Per year, that's $240,000. And in 3 years, that's $720,000. Revenue for the extra cost. And I'm trying to figure out why this program is going to cost us extra money when we're saving on tippage. Somewhere between 40, from all reports that I read, somewhere between 40 and 50%.
Yes, and I can reply, Mel and I did discuss it. He was going to try and look at some numbers. It's really, we can go on what other communities, sort of ballparking it. It's still really hard to know what we will actually come up with until we actually come up with the numbers, and it'll take probably a year or two. But I can get you some information. If there are, we're looking for savings, for sure, which we can certainly make price adjustments as necessary, should that be the case. But I just don't know what that is. It's speculation at this time.
And that's fine. But the point I'm trying to make, I guess, is with the revenue that we're getting on this. I mean, why are we focusing on the cheapest models? Why are we not, bearing in mind the use of these things, like IPL does not have a middle cart. And I'm thinking, that's a pretty good solution for all these problems, is to have a middle cart. And the other solution,
definitely not.
the other suggestion I would make, and I say this with some conviction, is I've looked at the Red Deer model, and first of all, I want to, before I mention Red Deer, I'm going to say that a lot of communities are just getting into this, so I think we should be darn proud of ourselves for entering into this battle nowadays, right now, because there's a lot of bigger cities than us that are just starting into this and looking at pilot programs and that. So, as much as one would think that we're behind the times, we're actually not. We're actually quite progressive. But their pilot project is going to involve a choice of the three, and I very much like that. I know it might be a little bit more expensive, but it is so important. I cannot overemphasize how important it is for our community to buy into this program. Mm-hmm. And if we're going to shove them with something that does not fit them, mm-hmm. it's going to backfire on us. And I'm very concerned about that. And that's the feeling I get. I mean, I don't know if this is still, if the extra cost for an extra compost bag is still in the works. I haven't seen it recently, but I know that was in. I mean, this is exactly the kind of thing that we don't want to do. We want to encourage people to compost. It's very important. It's saving our community money. And if it's done right, we're going to get buy-in. If it's not done right, we're not going to get buy-in. We're going to have all kind of problems. And I see problems with these carts. I don't care which cart we go with, but in 3 or 4 years, I want those carts to be still standing, and I do not want our administration, our people, spending all their time putting new wheels on these things or putting new lids on these things. And that's what I think is going to happen with these IPLs.
Can I ask a
I
question?
think that's all the questions.
Through to Bob. So just to, what I understand you're saying is what your thinking is, and this is one of the reasons why we brought the different show, just to show you what the options are. We certainly can go to a third, if you want to look at a third size option, so people have a choice of one, you can have size A, size B, and size C. We can look at that. I think that's possible to look at.
For the green cart, or are we talking the black cart?
No, the black cart, I like the size of the black cart. I'm still not a fan of the cart itself, but
You're talking the
and
green
mostly because of
carts.
the lid and the wheels.
You're talking the green carts.
But
having
I'm talking the green carts.
Having options, so you can have small, medium, or bigger, big,
The
bigger,
120,
biggest. Yep.
what is it, 170? Yeah, 240, 120, 175, and 240
So
liter. Or
could we-
32, 45, 64.
Can I confer with the director here for just a second?
If we didn't have to order, if people ordered, that would happen. Because with 4,200 people, it wouldn't be hard to get them to take a choice, right? We're not faced with, with 500,000 households. We have 4,000. So people could really have a choice. Could really buy in.
And apparently you can order them anyway and return.
Used?
You're gonna need a place to store them until they're all.
Return them, you can't, once they're used, or,
No,
No, but
but you, on stock.
okay.
it would just be very useful. Like, one of our advantages.
Does we not have room in the back, like, if they ever move out of it? With everything?
Likely, yeah, but there's gonna be, because we're gonna have to have a place to.
I know.
For spares anyways, so where that,
Well, if you're
yeah,
doing your own
we could,
line.
but that's what I was gonna get at. Is that's what we
I
need to
think
do,
about how much
is to
we
have some
pay.
open houses. Which
And
cart
I have
would you
a
like?
huge recycling
But that's down the
bin
road.
in my backyard, huge one. And I use that just for mulch. And then I bet,
Left my mic on.
I'd never fill that in a year.
4 times over the year, we bring that much again that we have to pay for. Over.
So, sorry.
One of the great things about the town of Strathmore that is different than most communities is a recycling yard.
Yes.
Right? It is huge, like, I don't have that in Calgary, where I can just go take my lawn waste or whatever to, or my recycling, if I have more than it, I just store it in my garage, or I store it in my yard until the next one, until I have a place, because I can't take it to a facility like that, unless I want to take the dump and pay like $20, right? So, in Strathmore, you have a great, awesome service there, that, in the event that those 2 times or 1 time a year, you can do that, right? Now, we're trying to, like Bob's absolutely correct, we're trying to maximize our use of the organics, because the more we take out of here, the more we save out of here, right? Or the tippage fee. Not that, the cost to actually take these up are about the same, right? It's the tippage fee that we will save.
Rob brought up a good point, that you can order them and send some back if we don't need them. Is that on all of them?
Well, like right now, we're saying 5,000, so because we have growth in there, so we would have to keep ordering them every year, we just store a bunch of them, and if there's replacement, we'd have them in our yard, be able to just go replace them quickly, right? So we're actually gonna get an inventory of 800 spare carts sitting, waiting to be utilized, right? And that would cover the 1%, we're just assuming 1% damage every year, we're gonna have to so that's 40 carts we're gonna have to replace every year because of damage. If we got growth, which we do, we're forecasting a 2.5% growth next year. So we're expecting to have much more houses that will need these, right? So instead of going out every year and buying 3 carts at a time, we're getting a great deal relative to what we do if we just bought one of these at a time.
So if I may, sorry.
I'll shut up after this, but just one comment in regards to costs of the black cart. That will, in the future, if we can get everybody focused on composting, we could be looking at every second week pickup, because there won't be anything in there that will smell.
That's exactly what the city of
So,
Calgary said.
that's,
Just,
you think of the savings again, it's pretty
City of
substantial.
Calgary, they've done that, they got all 3 carts. They now pick up my black cart every 2 weeks, that was yesterday, and they pick up my green, my blue every week. Right? But they're all, and even though they pick up my black every week, it's literally half full. When I go through the neighborhood, because I do walks every night, there's people that still do it, and they still don't use their blue cart, and they still don't use their green cart. Because this thing is so big, they can throw it all into one. That's one of the problems with having 3 big containers, is you're not forcing people
To recycle, yeah.
recycle. That's not the first step is not to force. First is to educate, get people used to it, and get the buy-in. It's the late motivators that you do with smaller carts.
Well, there's no fine system if they do it, they're all in one day.
Eventually, there might be.
There might be, but
Generally, that hasn't worked well in other places that
I
have
can believe
kicked it
that.
off. It just gets people mad and
Yeah.
they just say, for heck with it. And what ends up, they actually end up dumping in public parks and stuff and filling up public garbage cans and private, they go to
Or
malls
take
and
it in the
stuff.
country.
Yeah, they take it to the mall and dump it, and then the malls get mad, so. Just to respond, we certainly can ask to see that for the third option. We could even do more if council wishes. We could look at getting a sort of an inventory of people's desires. That's another option that we could pursue. We can certainly buy more expensive carts. That's possible too. I think I guess the strategy is council, are there any looks like there's lots of lights on.
Looks
so-
like Yeah, there's lots of questions coming.
Lots of questions, okay.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sobel. Next, I think, is Councillor Fuel.
No, oh, sorry. I think it was Counselor Blockman. He had his light on right after Bob.
Doesn't matter to me, your
Doesn't
worship.
matter, yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Fuel, I gave your
Okay.
name.
Thank you, your worship. Just a couple of quick questions through the chair to Mark. When you look at the size of that large black one, I'm just thinking in terms of small homes, small garages, like you were saying, that it's a storage problem. Where do the people keep them? Just in their alley or on their driveway, or if they can't fit them into their garage?
Yeah, for me, I have a lane, so it's
Yeah.
great. That's one of the incentives to have a lane now, I think, because I just leave my carts all in the lane. I don't even have to, I just take my recycling in a little bin and I dump it out, I take my garbage, drop it out there, not a big issue. On cul-de-sacs and stuff, you see them wheel them out in the front, and I do see them, some of them sitting outside of in their front porches on there, and that's, it's again, the visual thing, right? So we want them to look good. There's been some complaints about that in Calgary, if you listen to some of the blogs and stuff, that they definitely have, like, what am I gonna do with 3 carts? And some of them just, they don't even take the organics, you can see that they still have their stickers on them, they haven't used them. Right? Bryce, do you live in a front attached garage, or?
Rear.
Rear?
Yeah, I have a lane, and mine are kept in the lane. I had them in the garage for some time, but I'm getting ready for my 3rd cart, so they're going outside.
My second question was, I totally understand the fact that the wheels stick out. I think that could be a problem. My other question, as far as the difference between the 2 green ones, is do we have to be concerned with the edging of these carts? Like I see this one has a narrow, thin, sharper edging, and this one is much more smooth and flat. Do we need to be worried about cutting our hands or bags being cut and causing a mess? Is that a consideration as far as the 2 styles of carts? Like, we're using a biodegradable bag in these green ones, correct? Okay.
I can answer that with that small green one.
Mm-hmm.
My dad had that, and he was prone to nicks and cuts and stuff. He diligently took out his kitchen waste. It was okay. And actually, they had some of the cities have a little latch on them so they don't blow open.
I think lots of communities have them down the coast for raccoons. We don't have a raccoon.
Oh, we have raccoons now?
We have raccoons.
The other problem
Do we?
are our friends
Just
with
recently.
rat, which require them to do that.
I have pictures.
But I guess one of the things I can make is just a quick statement. Think about your current carts, the Walmart specials that you have, and think about these, right? Like the ones that you get from Walmart. They're not this, right? Most people don't go and buy them from there. They find the cheapest metal one, or they find the brown beige one with the little two wheels on it. That's what I used to have. I mean, I think we're giving our community a much better, consistent, like, I applaud this, because it will make our community look better, because everyone will have consistent looking garbage containers, even though they're ugly things. Relative, they're all consistently, we don't have, this color, that color, they're all gonna be consistent.
Thank you very much, Councillor Field. Thank you. Councillor Blokeland,
Oh, thank you, your worship.
finally, huh?
I'm so glad we're going with this program. I think we've been working on this for just about 2 summers now, going back. And when we first started, if I recall correct, we were looking at the organic bin. Now, we're on 3 bins. 2?
Now, 3 ultimately.
3 ultimately, yeah. So through all of the comments made here in the last little while, myself, in my residential property, I don't have room for 3 of these. I do have a back alley, but I've been in the recycling business for a long time. I recycle everything at my house up to my business. And I have one of these green things sitting in my house. It doesn't even get filled halfway up in a week. So when I redid my fence, obviously because I don't use garbage collection at my house for the last 17 years, I can't get to the back alley now. I assume all this is going to be mandated to residents, right? You don't have any choice in the matter. What I also do, I just did it this week, Tuesday, because they're closed on Monday, the recycle yard. I took the equivalent of about 8 garbage cans of this size of stuff out of my yard, we're getting close to winter, so like you said, not everybody has access to a recycle yard, but I just kind of worried about some of the comments Councillor Bob made and maybe Councillor Pat. You got to be able to sell this program to the citizens. But I'm just kind of concerned if, you got 3 of these carts sitting in your yard, and probably a lot of other people have the same size yard I got. I don't know. The $5 cart fee, that's pretty much acceptable.
Can I make a correction on that? Just, there's the $5, it's not $5 just for the carts.
Okay.
It's for the whole additional program.
So once we get fully going on these 3 different bins, we're gonna cut our weekly garbage pickup? Eventually. That's the plan. That's the plan, right?
Eventually.
Because I know at my business, my bin gets dumped every 3 weeks now instead of 1 week. Because there's stuff that's not going in there.
If I may, Rocky, at this time, there's no service changes until we get the transition.
Oh, yeah,
right,
this
and
could
the new-
be-
And the new council's happy with the direction it's going in, so that'll be, right now, it's status quo for garbage pickup. We're just
Right,
rolling
yep.
out the other things, and that will evolve based on feedback, based on council, based on stats that we develop and our business model, and it's a work in progress. It
Right.
definitely is a pilot.
And I was more or less thinking a year down the road after this has been going for a year. Or a year and a half, 2 years, whatever. Because I think the questions we're gonna get, are we still paying whatever garbage monthly rates are? I have no idea what they are.
I think there's 17.
$17.
$17.
$5 be $22.
But if we're, and you said it once before, we're still playing with the same amount of garbage, we're just separating it.
Potentially, we actually, we have more volume that people can actually put in the garbage, because before you only allowed 3 bags. This big one had capacity for 4 bags, so they could, in theory, put up to 6 bags, whereas before they would only be able to put 3, and then buy the bag tag. Just for reference, last year we sold about 3,600 extra bag tags, which seems like a big number, but it's really small considering there's 4,200 residents.
Residences, yeah.
So that's less than an extra bag per resident.
I have a 6-yard bin sitting behind my business, and since I started changing things here about 4 months ago, I put a lock on my bin. Which, since I'm the one paying for the bin, I'm getting more use out of the bin. Before, I have some neighbors that live across the alley that constantly watch people drive up at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, picking garbage bags out of their vehicles and throwing it in my bin and anybody else's bin that's open. So I guess the only thing I was trying to get across was I'm already recycling all this stuff. I have been for quite a few years. And I don't know how many other people do that. I'm sure a lot of people use the recycle yard. I'm just questioning how we're gonna sell the end result of 3 bins sitting in everybody's yard. The organic bin I can see no problem with.
I think if I may, we've talked to the staff level, it's some years out before we get to a 3rd bin. That's not something in the next 1 or 2 or 3 years. Likely it's a few years out. And certainly, thank you for sharing your feelings on it. It's important that we hear that information. It helps us develop the program. It is a work in progress.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Blokeland. Deputy Mayor Graychuk.
Thank you, Your Worship. First off, in my situation, you're right, I have one of those gray round things, and it's been blown, it's been banged, it's been thrown, it's been stolen and brought back, and it's still got its wheels. So, and it's a cheap thing. But it makes me think, I have no room in my garage. It's a narrow garage, and, it would take, only a smart car would fit in it, but those big ones, I couldn't get in the sideways even. They wouldn't fit even sideways. So, and there's a lot of garages like that in the community. I'm really concerned about that, number one. On the front, there's one woman, nobody's got an alley. So it's an education program. How are we gonna handle that? I mean, 3 carts out front is gonna look like heck. I have 2 now, but I don't know. I don't know the answer. I'm just talking here, and I don't know the answer to it. There's still a lot of people that we have a heck of an education process here yet. There's a lot of people, because we've got a recycle yard, going down there, so why am I paying $5 extra when I can just drive it down myself? And there is some discussion that out in the community already, and even at my morning coffee shops, and they're hearing this, I go down to the recycle yard every day, and I don't need those, What percentage, or is the percentage that is going towards the $5 to administer? Is it all just, I didn't quite understand the answer there. Is it partly administration and repurchase of the carts, or?
There is a portion of it, how we recover it over how many years, that's Mel's kind of magic, right? But if we do with the carts are not a huge delta in terms, it's part of the recovery cost. But we're just in the process, and I'm bringing forward to next council some stuff about the actual collection, so I'll have some better numbers to give you guys next council, hopefully. I didn't get the reporting today, hopefully tomorrow morning. And have an idea of what these total costs. It's likely, based on my preliminary numbers, it's gonna be less than the $5 that we're talking. $5 is actually now, based on the information that we've got, probably less than that. The carts themselves, depending, looking at the numbers, just in the delta in the cost for going to the higher sizes from the low side, we're talking a total about 60% more we're talking about $3 a month difference if we went from the lowest cost to the highest cost, if we recover that over 5 years, right? So that, and that's 60% more, so that's kind of the range. Now, we can go a longer period of time, 10 years, obviously recovery. What we're trying to do here is we'll come up with a program that's gonna be able to be, what I really was trying to do is get a big stability in our price, so we're not going up all the time. That we have a way of funding this. Once these carts are paid off, we can fund for blue carts. When we wanna buy those, we won't actually have to increase to buy the blue carts. We might have to increase due to the service increase, because we're picking up 3 times, or we could do adjustments in the system. But that's a decision 3-5 years down the road.
There's a noticeable difference from what I understand already in the organics that are going to Calgary because of the recycle yard. Have you got any numbers on that? No?
We haven't got any from Colin.
I'm told there is. Is there any thoughts on it then?
Anything?
No?
I guess that's the thing that we want to do, which is why I think it's critical that we get through the pilot. We want to spend some time doing a lot of profile, lots of PR. There will be people that will love it, and there'll be people that are okay with it, and people won't even use it, and it's really hard to predict.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Graychuk. Councillor Peterson.
He tricked me into turning my light off. I think that we have some huge advantages in terms of being a community of 4,000. We have lead time for one thing, and I think that profile and PR are important, but more important than that is education. And I think that we have a lot of opportunity to ask our other community leaders, our sustainability committee, our seniors advisory groups. Those are people who are really focused on doing this. Everybody's in it together. And they know, they respect that some people are going to choose to not use it. But they are also supportive of the fact that everyone's going to pay for it, because it's what responsible people do. And so in that, I think that if we use the language that's there, we're selling something that's a no-brainer. And I think that we can do that, but we can build choice into it. I think what Councillor Sobel said, we can build choice in, through Jennifer's great survey IT projects that have been really useful in community, to open houses in the town. I think we have some time to do that, and we could do that. And I just want to say, having seen these carts, and I have 6 immediate family living in the city, and in various, from condominiums to houses with lanes, with out lanes, and some of them have cul-de-sacs with their carts on the front. And I think at first it was bothered them, and then it didn't. It's just part of building a better community. And so, as I look at these carts, particularly on the inside, I prefer them. And if we have evidence that that Bryce has just given us that they have that stability, I'm okay with it. And especially when I look at a 32% increase from the $500,000 that we're already paying, boy, that'd be money well spent somewhere else if we don't have the data-driven evidence to show that it's otherwise than what we know. That's all I have, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councillor Peterson. No further, Councillor Sobel?
Sorry, round 2, I guess.
No, that's fine.
It's just 2 quick items. One was in regards to the comment in regards to the Walmart carts, and I appreciate that comment for what it is, but none of those Walmart carts are being lifted by an automated system, and I think that's something that we have to look a little bit further into. And I mean, you lifted the lid there, Mark, on the green one over there, and you can see how flimsy it is. Now come and lift the. Yeah. You see, you're just dealing with a different quality on the totem or toter or whatever it's called. It's just a much solider unit. And I think in the long run, I think we'd benefit from that. And the other comment I wanted to make was in the black carts, and yes, when we started this program, it was in regards to compost, and there was a reason we did that, because the compost was going to produce for our community, our town, the best bang for our buck. It was going to save us money at the landfill site. It was going to help our earth the best way we can. And the black carts for garbage, for trash, was not in there, but I gotta say, I am, the more I walk around, this has been a very warm summer, and I did lots of walking this summer around our communities, and I saw lots of bags, lots of garbage bags with, filled to the brim with grasses and stuff. But I also saw lots of birds, and I saw lots of trash all over our community. And this will eliminate that issue, and for that reason only, I welcome the black cart. And I know it's gonna be a pain, and I know we gotta get used to it, but we're cleaning up our community. We want a clean town. That's one of the ways we gotta get rid of this. We gotta get rid of bags of garbage on our sidewalks and birds spreading it all over the place. Thank you.
Thank you,
Can I just
thank you,
ask a
Councilor
question?
Stumble. Go ahead, Councilor Peterson.
So these green carts, we talked before about the ones that had to be handled and the WCB concerns that Calgary faced. That wasn't this. It was this.
The issue isn't the actual cart side, it's because the city of Calgary allows you to put bags on the side.
Right.
However, they don't have a truck that you can just throw in the back.
They don't have an
actually
automated
have to
system.
Open up
Right.
these bags, and the bags they give you are literally the bags that they give
Yep.
you are as big as this.
Right.
And they just don't physically fit in here. So what they were finding was, okay, we gave this option to the people to have extra bags, but we couldn't lift it. One of the things, this is one of the problems that I have right now is, I personally don't think we're gonna have many extra bag purchases. Why would you? If you all of a sudden went from, before you had 3 bags, now I'm giving you 6. And we're only talking about 1 bag per, on average, less than 1 bag per resident. I don't know how many.
Talking trash here.
Trash, right? So, even if we get, this has enough capacity to handle the full load that you currently are allowed to do. Plus, we're gonna give you an organics on the side. So if this is full, maybe I'll take my grass clippings and put it in here instead of throwing it in there. And once they start doing that, they'll do it all the time. And that's something that we didn't get before, right? So I really think council's on the right track with the 2 carts. I do. I think this is a really good idea.
So just to clarify, do we have automation for that cart?
Yep. They will automate these, and like I said, right now, the program that we are planning to implement is, everyone gets these. If they want, they are a heavy user, and they wanted this. We'll, through a program and council's discretion, right now, our plan is to charge a little bit. Council says, no, we really want them to not charge it, we can do that. They can trade this back into us, give us this one back, this is not big enough for you, because you're a big gardener or heavy grass and you wanna put all it, we'll take this back and give you a big one here. And then you have this all year round, right? That's a user choice model.
So I'm just still on the usability of this cart relative to, so if it's automated with us, but it wasn't automated with the data Bryce gave us. So they were using it by hand, the 1% return on the
No,
IPL carts?
automated.
Those are automated,
The
okay.
reason they went to
They never used these.
They didn't use these.
They did, in the pilot.
In the pilot, they used it. What they had also in the pilot was, they allowed the pilot people to have bags.
Right,
Right? So
Right.
you, in City of Calgary, you still have all 3 of these, plus you're allowed to put as many bags out beside it, and they'll pick it up for you. Right now. They don't actually charge you extra for the bags. And you just put them out, and they will come out, and the guy with the truck will go dump it, get out of the truck, open it up, put that bag in here, go back in the truck, and dump it back again. That's how they do that, right? It's crazy. Now, ultimately, I think they're gonna have to scale that service back, right? But they don't have the recycling yard that we do, right? That's the big game.
Just a question. All of these carts can do a job for sure. Like you said, some of them are, there's some differences. I'm wondering whether, would council like us to look at if we had 2 green card options or 3 green card options? Currently, we have the 2 options. But would you like us to look at the cost implication of a low introductory, how would I put it? Incentive where for this year only, if you want a bigger size, it's a pro bono. We could suck up it's a small fee, but for 1 year, as an introduction to get people incentivized, would you be willing to consider that? Just a crazy.
Well, I think if it's one more option that we can build in, I think we only have 4,200 people. We can hear from them. We can hear from them. And I think that they're going to tell us what they want, and they're going to give us some really good direction.
So we want to do a citizen survey?
If we could. Jen has the magic, I think. Because she has hardly anything else to do.
Deputy Mayor Graychuck.
And I agree with the citizen survey, but, you know, it's, to me, and it's confusing enough just to put this whole information in front of us. The citizen is not gonna be able to understand it until he actually has the carts out there, and that's gonna be the survey.
But they can come see them, like that we do that. I think we did they could come see them.
It's the use of it, you know, how's my household gonna use each one? I mean, we can look at all these all day long, and that doesn't really tell us what our household does. That's my theory. But anyway, go ahead and do it your way. I mean, both ways, I guess.
Okay. So my question is to administration now, because I don't think there's any more questions here, is you've got a conclusion and you're asking for a request for decision. Do you want that done tonight, or do you want that brought back to the next council meeting?
It's at your discretion if you want some more time to mull it over. We have a recommendation. There are options. We wanted to give you time to think of it. There's so many different ways to do this. We could look at a third size. We can do all of it. It will slow down the kickoff a little bit. And that's okay. We can do that. We can, you know, if it takes a few.
There's so many different options, so, right?
Yeah. Well, one of
We
the,
can slow this down a few months or
Yeah.
days or whatever.
well, two
It's
things.
an important decision. It's a really important decision. We want to make sure council is comfortable with this decision.
Yeah, two things. I think we would like to get some further financial information in regards to the fee. And then the other one is, Councillor Sobel suggested that we should be looking at some of the different bins as opposed to the IPLs. So whether, and I guess I will leave it up to council here at this point. Do you want to do the recommendation today, the request for decision? Or do you want to do it at council meeting next week?
If I could, I go
Please,
right on
please.
something else, but I don't want to decide on this now. I don't think we're ready yet.
I don't think so either.
I'm not ready, I'll tell you that. I would not vote for anything at this point, so I would vote against this motion, just simply because I don't think we're there yet. And I had my light on, and I'll throw this in there too. I think we've got to spread our wings a little bit too, and I like the idea of an open house, Councillor Peterson. I think that's a great idea. And I think this is important enough to do that. I just found this today, and I apologize to council for not delivering a copy. I certainly will, but it's just a Q&A from the Red Deer's Cart family program, and they did this with 2,000 households. It started in May of 16. It's going till April of 18. And I think we've got to pick and choose maybe a couple of communities in our vicinity in southern Alberta and find out the pros and cons. And you guys may have done that already. We don't have any of that information if you have, but I think there's a solution there that's going to make everybody happy. And once again, my focus is is to ensure that this is a successful program. That's all I'm focused on at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sobel. Councillor
I
Peterson.
just don't want to delay by too long rolling it out. Like, I don't want to prevent the rollout. So I think we have to move on it pretty quickly somehow. So I don't know if there's any direction that we can collectively give to administration in terms of a,
Go ahead, sir.
So an option for council, if you choose, we could slow it down just a little bit, not too much. We could take a bit of time. It would take us some weeks to do a citizen survey, but it might be valuable and provide some real hard data. We could hopefully get some statistical analysis and validity to the survey, particularly if there's a desire for people to say, okay, do you want, options A, B, and or C in terms of sizes for green cards? We can look at some other communities, and I think there is some validity to do that. We have been moving quickly because we understood that, but it is a really important decision, and we could also look at the education and communications component as well. Certainly, we are working on it. A lot of work has been done to date. We can certainly present a preliminary report next week. Council could choose to make some decisions. I would urge council to make sure that you have full disclosure. Maybe it takes a little time. Maybe the new council needs to make the decision. I can't make that decision for you. But it sounds like this is an important decision, and so we respect that, and we want to make sure you've had enough time to get into this. So that's my discussion.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Graychuk.
Just my final is that I really like, I think it was Mark made the comment, or maybe it was Councillor Sobel or somebody else, but anyway, I really like the idea that if this particular card doesn't fit in my house for my situation, or as a citizen, then I can opt it out for another one, smaller or bigger. And I think that's got to be one of the main options for the public, that they should be able to go up and down in card sizes without no cost to them. And I think if you market that alone, it's gonna mean a lot to the whole community. That's my thoughts.
well, and James said in 1 year, I guess, but, you got a free, you got a, yeah.
One clarification if I can, from council. Right, and James, the issue seems to be, there's two issues. First off, the product, IPL versus a different product, that's one issue. Everyone seems to agree right now that this is probably the right size for black cart, am I correct? And that because this is gonna be recycling and black cart, you gotta remember, this is going in supposedly January 1st. This is April.
Yeah, we got a lot more
Delaying this,
lead-in, we got lead-in.
This could be delayed till June, I don't really want to, but.
At least they may one, yeah.
Right, where, regardless of us doing an automatic manual pickup, they can still use these for manual pickup as well, right?
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
so, I just wanna get that out. The question is, like, we could, one of the options would be to progress with just the purchase of these cards, the black cards, and we can delay on this, and then we get options for the public, like we talked about this survey, and the open house, and all those things on the green card. We don't have to, am I right, Bryce? We separated the ability to buy, there's no penalties for buying only the black cards and not the green cards, or can we do that, or was it?
The RFP allows us to negotiate, to award parts of the contract, not the entirety if we chose to use it.
Yeah.
It would be a negotiation.
Yeah.
It's
It's on our
Who was first?
RFP kind of thing, but we can negotiate it, that's our new ability.
Is that amenable to council?
Yes?
Just a very quick comment. I'd just be very cautious if we go with that black card, and I like that idea for January 1st. Then we got to stick with that, basically, or correct me if I'm wrong, do we not have to stick with that one in order to facilitate parts?
No. City of Calgary doesn't have, you have all three different models.
Okay,
A lot of cities do that.
okay, thank you.
Councillor Blokeland.
Thank you, Your Worship. Getting back to the history on what this council has been doing with the green cart program. Why can't we flip it around? Why can't the green cart go January 1st?
The
And
intent,
then get the black one going, or get that one going 3 months later or 4 months later.
because one of the reasons is our current collection contract is up.
On
in
January 1st.
January 1st. We've got an RFP out currently, just being evaluated, we'll bring forward to council for an automatic. In order for them to do an automatic service, we need them to have automatic carts. You cannot collect
Garbage bags.
the other ones without the automatic. So we need, if we're gonna go to an automated, and that RFP, if council decides to award or go to negotiations next week, then we gotta have these in place by January 1st, or else we're gonna have to do something else.
Okay, good point.
Okay, thank you.
One quick comment.
Please.
Just to clarify that, the reason why, if that carries 300 pounds, nobody's gonna be able to lift it and throw it in the back of a truck. You need the automatic system, automatic, that's just a gimme.
If they filled it with all organics,
You could lift it,
you wouldn't, yeah,
and somebody's gonna do that.
right. That's why the automatic system, but our current bylaw doesn't say, it says 3 unit, well, it does have a weight limit, doesn't it?
There's a weight limit for it.
So there would be an extra cost if we actually kept our manual system to do that. It's not, trust me, that's not where we're going,
Yeah,
if I can have any hope in.
okay, thank you.
So if I may, sorry, can I clarify? Can we just I just wanted to clarify with council which direction you're wanting us to go in. And if so, could I get a resolution at the end of the meeting, just to clarify how you'd like us to proceed? We provided some options. We have some thinking. We certainly can roll this out. But we just want to make sure we have your interests, and we've clearly heard what your direction is. Thank you.
Good. We're gonna have to come up with a resolution for the end of the meeting. Okay. Next item on our agenda is the request for decision on infrastructure, from Infrastructure and Development Services on the EPCOR contract update. Oh, yes. Have
Have Councilor Walsh come back in and have him check in that
Please show Councillor Walls has returned. Next item on our agenda is the EPCOR contract update.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As requested last time, you requested some additional information before authorizing the mayor and the CEO to sign the EPCOR contract. Related to changes in the renewal contract, this is the last renewal of the EPCOR 20-year agreement. In 2016, Administration EPCOR commenced an extensive review of the agreement, which was undertaken by a group of representatives from EPCOR town to clarify the agreement's service levels, refine its scope, identify documents and process improvements, and outline any contract adjustments necessary. The major changes to the contract that we are actually going to be signing incorporate previously amendments. EPCOR provided additional support to address regulatory and standard increases, incorporating of approvals that had changed since the contract signed in 2000, fee structure, fire hydrant inspection and maintenance, clarification of management fee structure for capital projects management, defined risk management, and updated service level clarifications. The financial implementation, this is the main question I think council had, was the new fees, basic work for 2017, 2018, 2019, and for 6 months of 2020. As the contract expires in June 2020, the increases will be 3.1 in 2017, 3.8 in 2018, 2.4 in 2019. I might have, 3.1 in 2017, 3.8 in 2018, and 2.4 in 2019 as a percentage increase. The amendment and restatement operation and maintenance agreement has incorporated agreed changes and clarification, additional direction regarding basic works, addressing increasing regulatory risks through the risk management program, and creating clear parameters for the service level clarification within this agreement. This will enable us to better manage the contract, which we've seen in a significant improvement in our management of the EPCOR contract over the last few years. I hope that answers the question that was directed to us last time.
Okay. Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor Graychuk.
Just one question. Are we allowed to eliminate some of the things? I mean, negotiate, like one of the things that really has been eaten at Macraw is that 15%, I think it's 15% they charge in all purchases that they do for us or for them. And we're, ultimately the taxpayers paying the bill.
That is still part of the current negotiation, and it's a varied rate depending on the size of the project or invoice. It ranges, I believe, off the top of my head, from 8% to 12%, but I don't have the numbers in front of me right now. But it's still in this negotiation to finish off the contract for the last 3 years. We didn't feel it wasn't a discussion item to remove it as we were at the end of this term.
But we have managed the amount of those contracts that are given to them. We've reduced that amount. Well, we attempted to reduce that amount from previous years.
Because I know one time that they used to charge even when they bought half tons,
No, that's not part of it anymore. The only, there are some additional management fees are only applied to out-of-scope work or capital projects that we approve EPCOR to move.
So one of them is that new lift station we're putting in?
Correct. They are the lead on that project.
So they're getting 8%?
I'd have to check the number, but it'd be in that range, 8 to 10%.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Graychuk. Councillor Sobel.
I guess I'm just curious, if this is still under negotiations, if the fee is still under negotiations, why are we signing this contract then?
Through the chair to Councillor Sobel, the negotiation was an update to a contract that has already been awarded. The negotiation phase, specifically around the basic fees and the fee structure, were discussed with our Director of Finance and approved through his department. These items have been discussed and approved through his department as acceptable rate increases based on the negotiations.
These, the ones that you just talked about?
Correct.
But the question I have though is, once we sign this extension of the contract and the change and the increase in the contracts up to 2020, why in heaven's name would anybody want to negotiate anything further?
There's nothing further for negotiation. This would be the last update to this 20-year term.
Okay.
After this 20 years, it is the town's responsibility to either move forward with a new tender or decide on a method forward to procure services for this, for water and sanitary.
And I'm clearly missing something here, and I apologize for that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think Bob, my understanding from Bob, Mr. Sobel here, is you talked about I think it's related to the projects that we're negotiating with them. The 8 to 15% on the projects. We're not actually changing the rate, but the number of projects. That's what you were referring to, I think?
It's a follow-up to Councillor Graychuk's question in regards to the 15% surcharge that EPCOR charges us to manage a project, and you said that was under negotiation.
No, okay, so just to try and clarify, the percentages are based on the size of the invoice or capital project or out-of-scope work. So I'll give an example, and these aren't accurate, but I'll give an example. If the project is over 500,000,
Right.
let's say, then the percentage will drop. The higher you go, the lower the percentage that we give to EPCOR. Those percentages have been adjusted with this agreement and have been clarified, as well as our ability to award or not award work towards EPCOR have been clarified as well.
Thank you.
Hope that helps.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sobel. Councillor Walls.
Your worship, just not to throw a little more mud on this topic, but is this contract still being negotiated, or has negotiations ceased?
Negotiations are complete between EPCOR and administration. We are bringing forward the final draft of the agreement for council's consideration.
Thank you very much. No further questions? So then, go ahead, sir.
Will council be able to direct some report?
Yes.
Is that what you wish? Okay. So, Ms. Sawatsky, at the end of the meeting, remind us to rise and report on this item. Thank you.
Shouldn't we see the contract? Your worship, just
Work
to,
draft?
your worship, respectfully, I'm not sure I'd like to move that motion until I've actually seen a copy of the contract. Perhaps maybe the Cole's notes would be appreciated. Or perhaps maybe a list of suggested, the list of changes from the contract.
If I may, I think one of the issues for the new council will be to consider the broader 20-year contract that's coming up. I think that's the time to hit the negotiations. I think this one, we're bound already by this existing agreement. The adjustments they're very small and minor. There's lots of little verbiage changes. There is some cost implications. A lot of it is housekeeping in terms of drafting a contract that has certainty. I've sat in on some of the negotiations, and Mel and I have discussed this at great length. I think that our best strategy is for the new contract. This one, we're tied in. We really are. And I think it's a much bigger discussion, I would recommend, because there's a lot of things changing in this landscape with this type of treatment. So I think it would be almost a mini workshop with a new council. Thank you.
Your Honor, one quick question. One of the reasons we need this contract signed is we need to provide them a minimum of 18 months' notice, right? So we're running into those dates, so we need to get that signed so we can actually get the signed document and then give them notice that we're going to, there will be no renewal, we're going out for tender. That's part of our contract obligations. So time is becoming of the essence.
Good to know. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is the FCSS report. Ms. Simpson, you have the floor.
So as per council's request, we're bringing back a copy of our 3-year budget for the FCSS department, as well as the current 2017 budget, and the last 2 reports that we filed with the province. We apologize for the formatting of the reports. It's not the easiest system to print from, so if you have any questions on how that works, please let me know, because it doesn't print very legibly. So a couple things to highlight in our finances. The government requires that FCSS programming is funded 80% by the grants we receive from the province and 20% by the municipality. Looking at our 2017 budget specifically, the provincial grant covers 51% of our operating budget. Another roughly 20% is covered with programming fees that we recoup from various programs and services, and then just shy of 29% of the budget is covered off of municipalities' contribution. So we're well above the requirements to meet that mandate. The funding from the province is not expected to change over the next 3 years, so it's going to be sitting between the $250,000 to $300,000 mark. And we're here to answer any questions on the finances.
Thank you very much. Councillor Peterson?
You said that the provincial funding would be in the 250 to 300,000? Is that correct?
We've submitted a request for 2018 for 306,350. We're waiting for a review on our last report and approval of that.
So this was not what I was expecting. I was expecting the report that Mel had sent out to us, so this is different. This 2014 to 2016 has some differences comparative to.
I got that directly.
Yeah, it's different from the one that he emailed, slightly different. One of the questions that I have is on line 130 under expenses, employer contributions. So did employer contributions come out of which budget did that come?
So the employer contributions, 130, that's what we pay towards benefits. And
I understand what it is. I just want to know where it comes from. Like which, so is there a portion that comes out of the town? Is there a portion that comes out of the? I'll tell you why I'm asking the question. Absolutely. And the reason that I'm asking the question is that when I was going through the initial numbers, 70% of our funding is related to staff. Is that correct? 69.8% of our total cost of FCSS is in staffing?
Correct.
Okay.
And so we don't,
So the employer contributions, as far as I know, that is qualifying for the provincial funding. And it's one of the areas we have of concern because we're spending too much.
Well, I guess my question, and this leads up to the organizational or information gathering that you've been doing, which I really appreciate, and that is that it sort of comes down to philosophy in how you're going to roll out your FCSS programming. Are you going to bring it in-house, or are you going to do it out-of-house? And so I think that's a fundamental visioning process that belongs in the purview of council.
Yes, it does.
And so.
And that's actually one of the things that we want to bring forward is we want to look at contract administration models and use some of the local NGOs because they have
Yes.
a lot of strengths.
Yes.
We're not getting the biggest yield, and also there's some things that we can do better ourselves. We're just, as Tracy and I were discussing, we're putting all our eggs in one basket, and I don't think that's a good model, to speak metaphorically. And I know the staff are really on this because we just, well, I don't want to steal your thunder. I'll be quiet, sorry. It's a real concern to us, and staff are actually making some very, very good steps, I think, to change that. Because otherwise, the program's unsustainable, to be perfectly blunt.
Yeah, I've been known in the past to say that while we have great staff and their initiative and their kindness and care is goes without saying, but it's a bit of a mess. And I guess one of the things that I want to say to you and to this administration is that I started asking for this data in November of 2013. So I was a little cranky that it's taken 3.5 years to come here. But I'm really glad it has. And I'm really glad it's come here while this council, which has had care and concern, is still here and has understanding of the work of TSI and of this current administration. And I'm very, very grateful for it.
so a couple of notes on some of the things that James was mentioning. We're currently in the process of doing a fully in-depth review and means testing of our home support program. And we're planning to bring a full report back to council regarding the stats of that program and some options moving forward, which will include the financial picture of the staffing costs, because that is the largest portion of our budget. And there's lots of areas to trim back, but we want to make sure that council understands the full picture, and that because it's a social service, there will be people, lives impacted by some of the decisions that we're making. The other thing is that we want to continue to look at the grant funding that we do out of the FCSS department, but put some really, some more clear parameters and more consistent guidelines into how we fund and how we monitor our funding. one of the things that we need to improve on is after we give money out, how do we continue to monitor that? There you go. That they're actually spending the money where they said they were spending it, and how is it benefiting the community? And so that reporting back piece is we really need to flush out more, and we want to see that implemented with our 2018 grant funding.
If I may, we anticipate some real dollars being freed up for grant funding for the 2018, 2019 fiscal year. So because we believe that there are some very good groups locally that can really stretch our dollars further than we can, because they have access to different things that we don't have access to. And we can't be experts in everything. And I know the staff have been working very closely with Growing Families, is one example. We're looking at engaging them in a contract fee for service model, so that provides more certainty for them. So.
Correct.
Thank you, Your Worship. So when Tracy, when you say, you know, that the council, there's a great desire for council's need to understand that people's lives will be impacted by the decisions, I think it's really important for this council and for our community to understand that people's lives were seriously impacted by the decisions that were already made.
Absolutely.
And so I think that that's a major concern. And one of the things with the home care, with the home support, and I really appreciate the means testing and the examination, but one of the things that was brought to my attention by AHS, by home care, and by registered nurses was a huge concern on the part of how we delivered our service, was that there was no cooperation or collaboration, and that went into homes that did the testing to see the needs-based testing at the front end, so well beyond means testing. So what kind of capacity did the organization have to go into a home to make the assessment? And that was a concern. I don't know. This is a concern they put to me. I have no idea of the answer or the outcome to that, but I do believe it is a concern when there's a question around collaboration and a consultation with other professionals in the community. So that was one thing. The other thing that I think is really an important consideration that I can't emphasize enough, and that is that, you know, going to community for consultation is really critical, but this council has a role to play, and I really don't want that to be lost. That's a concern.
There's by no means any plan to exclude council from the process. One of our goals was to be able to bring council a more solid plan that they can evaluate based off of what we found in the needs assessment, how the staff then interpreted that in needs assessment, and how it fits within our partners' mandates in the community. And so,
I could jump in, if I may. One of the things that staff I know are working on, and it's something that we've talked about, is a really open dialogue between this body here, especially the new council. It's one of the strategic issues that council will be facing, the new council. Because we will be looking at some fundamental changes in how we deliver programs and how we allocate dollars, because right now the home care program is grown so fast that it's eaten up 50% plus of the budget. I can't remember the exact number, but it's a significant amount of money, and it's not sustainable for terms of being able to.
Yeah, I think it's about 8, after staffing costs, what's remaining past that, it works out, I think, to more like 80%.
Yeah, it's a big number, and that's it. It's not workable, and so it's for that reason that we will be bringing back in front of council some framework and some discussions, because it's going to be a fundamental change in service. And there'll be a lot of people impacted, and that's okay. But we just can't keep doing it the way we're doing it. And so I believe you want to bring this forward when again?
The home support program specifically?
Well, just as part of we were talking,
We were aiming for a fall workshop with,
yeah, like
with the budget,
at
with
early
Council.
November.
Yep.
So it would be one of the discussions in the orientation for the new council, so,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the items on the orientation, for sure.
I just had one further thing, Your Worship. I was at 3 different meetings today where this issue came up at every meeting. And one of the concerns that might happen, I believe that the October 4th consultation is upstairs in the co-op.
Correct.
You might run out of room.
And we actually discussed that today, and we will be moving the location. My mistake, I'd never been up there before. And
About
when we were up there
16 people,
today,
yeah.
It's quite tight.
Thank
So,
you.
No, we will be moving it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Peterson. Deputy Mayor Graychuk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just 3 questions here. In your home support wages, and maybe you answered this in another way, I didn't quite get it, but you budgeted 131,000 change, and you only spent 3,000, and we're almost done the year. Why is that so?
It's a very good catch. I noticed that today too when I was putting it together, and I posed the question to HR because I'm not sure.
That's what I mean by being different than the one that Mel
Yeah.
presented it. The
So-
one that Mel presented to us was complete.
I pulled the one you got today right off of what I have access to in the budgeting software, so it may not be as up to date as what Mel can see. Yeah, that's all I have access to.
Well, when was this made then? I mean, is this the,
So
We have, if I may,
Yeah.
we're experiencing growing pains between the 2 softwares. We have a budget software called Questica, and we have our accounting software, which is Diamond and Great Plains. Sometimes they communicate very well, sometimes they don't. So it can produce some minor little headaches. We will get on it and we will correct it.
Yeah.
well, I guess my other 2 questions are redundant, and maybe, but I'll bring it up anyway. Under the contract services, I just want to know what are other contract services? Is that the snow angels and that stuff? And
No, other contracted services are when we hire anyone outside the organization to assist. So when we hire TSI to facilitate workshops, that would be a contracted service.
And finally, the final one is programming wages. Is that the same? We budgeted nothing, or did we budget something in 2017? But we spent 51,000 already.
That's ties into, I'm pretty sure that is getting coded the wrong way, and so that's just an HR glitch, I think that we have to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Graychuk. Councillor Blokeland.
Thank you, Your Worship. Tracy, I just have some questions, if hopefully you can get me some answers. Councillor Graychuk just talked about the other contracted, but I think you explained that, 28,000 for 16, 12,000 something for 15, and next year you're at 78.
So we have 12,000 budgeted for this year, and we haven't updated past this year, so we're still
Okay.
in that process, so, it was higher last year because we, did the needs assessment, and that was a larger, one-off expense.
Under the expenses, I just happened to see this afternoon, 211-01, travel home support. It's $1,015 compared to $5.50 last year.
So it was $5.50 in 2015. In 2016, it was just over $1,000, and then 2017 is $1,500 to date. So the line above that, the 00, is cost directly associated with the home support program. The other one is business travel associated with the other operations of the FCSS department,
Okay,
outside the home support program specifically.
and then expenses under 112, 113, 115 total about 300,000 on the wages.
Correct,
That covers off all these programs.
correct.
I'm not familiar with the Good Food Box, the frozen meal program.
The frozen meals program?
Yeah,
So it's, we facilitate the delivery of frozen meals in Strathmore. So
to the
people-
clients?
Yeah, people call us and they order, and we order from a program called Frozen Meals, and then they come pick them up at our office. We're just,
They pick them up or you
Pretty
deliver
much a
them?
cost.
it's a cost neutral program, and it's just, we facilitate it for a company in Calgary. To
Yeah,
bring the
between your,
service and
between your
stuff.
revenue on that and, your expenses, you end up with about 490 to the net.
Yeah, there's,
What's the advantage in that?
it's
Is
bringing
it cheaper
in,
for the clients than going to
Yeah,
a grocery store?
it's a bit lower cost frozen meal program, but they're home cooked meals than flash frozen, so
Okay.
they're a bit healthier than a traditional frozen meal.
And then my last question here, I'd like an answer for 521 on revenue, the Good Food Box. You show $6,211 revenue, and the corresponding expense down below shows $9,610, which is about over $3,000 less.
So I can't speak to
Or
what
more.
happened last year in that program. I don't know how to answer that. We can look into it for you though. Of why there was a discrepancy. It could
That's,
have been associated with delivery charges,
That's vegetables and fruits, isn't it?
Yes, fresh.
fresh veggies, yeah.
And probably there's a staffing charge incorporated into it, maybe.
Not into that line.
Not into that one,
No.
for sure?
I know that program went through some changes last year, and so we had to adapt our operating model mid-year, but
Wouldn't the staff
I'm not
charges
sure.
be part of the
Staff
overall
charges are part of the
300?
wages.
It is, but I
Yeah.
think it's incorporated into it.
Okay, I'm just curious about those points. Thanks, Tracy.
No further questions?
Actually, I have one more just quickly.
Please,
The Good Food Box, anybody in town can come there and do that and pick it up, right?
Absolutely, yep. Anyone can utilize that service. It's just a fee for service. It's a break-even program, just like the frozen meals. Anyone can order frozen meals. In fact, some of our staff are our biggest clients.
Oh,
They're apparently very delicious.
thank you.
You're welcome.
might even do it for council meetings. Thank you very much, Ms. Simpson. We appreciate your time. I don't think there's,
Move for information, you know.
we don't even need to do that unless we rise and report on it.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you. Nothing else is on the agenda except the in-camera, and so what we need to do is to
Rise and report?
move to come out of committee of the whole, rise and report. So,
I move to come out of the community hall.
we have a motion to come out of committee in the whole. All in favor? Carried. And Councillor Peterson, is that the first one we want to do? Or, yes, it is.
Your worship, before I make this motion, I need council's help, so just listen.
And.
And administration,
yeah.
naturally, yeah. Yeah. You got one?
I have a question.
Okay.
Your
Go
worship.
ahead,
leaving
Councillor
or-
Sobel.
Ready, your worship, yeah. Just needed to step out for a minute or two.
Oh, right. Show the, and Cafe Latte?
I'm sorry, I wasn't aware that we'd be voting on this, on the bins, and I understand why we have to, but I do have a question in regards to the difference in cost between, so.
My motion isn't for that.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's just to give direction to administration.
Then I'll wait.
So I just need your input, though, and Amin's input. So my motion is that council direct administration to prepare a report to council on curbside waste and recycling regarding, I'll give it to Jennifer,
Okay.
capacity and timeline to carry out a citizen consultation on cart size and choice, cost relative to cart choice, and a timeline for incorporation of the bin program.
Is there something else that needs to be added in there?
Was it for organic bin, not garbage bin?
Well, we're saying both, the January 1st and April 1st, or whatever the changes have to be incorporated for both.
I think it's really the organic.
It really is. We think we can do the other one on January the 1st, but it probably just should be in the report just because. Yeah.
We'll take direction on it.
But you're looking for a motion on the black bins today, aren't you?
If we can, because
Okay.
we gotta get rolling.
Well, then let's do it.
Which brings me back to my question. Sorry.
No
Do you want to make your motion in regards to? Go ahead.
I just have one question for you, to your motion, if I may.
Yeah.
So is there also a timeline then as to when this is gonna come back to council?
That's what I need a direction on. So that's, I was thinking about the black bin, thinking, like, I don't know if you can bring it back, if you can bring all this back to council within a week. Probably not. But maybe we could have a report on the black bins by next week. right? We should be able to have that by next week.
Because I do have some, I need a choice in the black bins. I'm not prepared to just vote for this without a considerable amount of information on other choices that we have. You know,
Could we have that information by next week?
For-
Cost of the different bins of the 240? On the black bin?
For the black pit, we, yes.
Yep.
And then we can do a motion in regards to which bin we want to do for January the 1st. That's what we're trying to
Next week.
accomplish. Yes, next council meeting, next
right.
week.
So,
Is it just one size, Counselor?
Sorry?
Just one size of black?
you know, I mean, my question is, what size is this one, Mark?
This is, they're basically, they're all, these big ones, they're all
Okay,
64 gallons.
they're all 64s.
Yeah.
So is there another black bin size?
There's 96, which is.
No.
you
No.
remember that blue one we had?
Don't, yeah,
No.
no, don't go there.
There's 64, there's 48, some about 48.
48.
40 or 40, 40.
48.
It's in the mid-40s.
Mid-40s, and then 32s plus or minus
Yeah.
6.
So what I'm looking for, if we're looking black bin, like, I'm wondering why we're not looking at the 48s, personally. I mean, we can put 5 garbage bags in this thing here, and on a 48, we could put 3. And I think the 48 would still be big enough, and I know, none of these are 48, I don't think.
None of these are
But,
48.
but the 48 can also be used for the same purpose, the recycling. But we haven't gone down that road, and you guys may have reasons why you didn't want to go down to 48. But, you know, that's the one that keeps coming back to me, is why we're not doing it. It's a little smaller, it's gonna be better for a lot of residences. We're limiting it to 3 garbage bags, it's gonna be fine for recycle when we go down that road, 48. I'm not sure that we should be going with a 64. And I know that's late in the game and it's throwing at that, but in our defense, we were never consulted about this.
I don't like the period, it's just too big, really.
For garbage or for green?
Black. For garbage, they're saying the 64 is too big. My
So-
concern then would be having to introduce both carts at the same time.
So if council's asking for options on the black carts, we could do that for next week. We're not in a position to bring a report on the green carts next
So
week.
if I add into the motion, report on September 20th on the option for the black cart cost.
Could I see that,
You
please?
bet. Just
make sure.
Just adapt.
Can we do this? Don't know if we have. We'll look into it. It's gonna be very tight for us to actually procure, get a communication, education plan together and have it operational by
Oh, no.
January 1st.
Oh,
See, everything, like when we delay black,
I don't know, are you gonna need much of an educational process on the
when you go from a manual system to an automated
Yep.
system, people need to understand the differences and how that will affect them. Right? If you,
but we can use this on a manual. We can still use it on a manual.
with some,
it's not
probably
intended to
contract
be-
adjustments because it's gonna be over the
Well,
way.
won't the same education programming and education of citizens have to occur for both the 48 or the 64? Like, either way, don't you have to educate the community?
That's true,
The
yeah.
other thing I'm thinking is we have way more time for the green card, and going to a size 48
This is too
might
too
encourage
complicated.
more
You need to break it up.
people to recycle and to shift things from the big can.
That would be, it would be a different philosophy than the
Yeah.
way our plan was set up because we were trying to convert this ultimately to recycling. I know for a fact that I fill my recycling every week in Calgary and it's this size. I fill it every week and I actually have to hold back some. Right, so that's just my personal.
Go ahead, sir.
May I ask for council to give us a 5-minute recess while we get our head, because we think we need to break this up
Okay.
into a few
Yeah.
resolutions.
Motion for recess, motion? We have a motion to recess for 5 minutes?
Thank
All in
you.
favor?
Okay,
Carried. Thank you.
so the first thing in here is they want
you have something for us?
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
I'll call the meeting back to order. And we have the motion ready? You ready? From Councilor Peters. Please.
That council instruct administration to prepare a report on the cost and size options for black waste carts, indicating the pros and cons of each option, to come back to council at the September 20th, 2017 regular council meeting.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Do you need any further direction?
No, green cards will just mean a delay in the, once we decide that next week, because if you've got prices for the 64, the 45, whatever, and the 32, your option for variable things, we'd have all that information, we'd be able to give the numbers to enable you guys to make the decision.
On the green card,
On the green card.
along with some research of other
Right.
pilot projects that are going on right now.
Right.
And just quickly, I see the width of the thing picking up where you connect the tool to the, is narrower on some carts than this one here. Does that matter, or is that?
Most of them are, they have different mechanisms for most of the ones that we see in the trucks, they go with the side clamps, but there is some that have a hook, they end up like this. So this gives gives the supply, the picker upper, different options for, different trucks. Is that the technical term? Whatever.
Well, we have to tell the guy, doesn't our contractor have to know this?
No.
No?
Because you can do either.
They're standardized carts, so we told them that we will provide standardized, industry standard carts, right? All these ones can be used by every system. They're universal.
How sensitive is the squeezing machine? That'd be the only hugs I ever get.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So are we closed? Is that issue closed for the time being? Okay, good, thank you. Next item on the report is to have a motion in regards to the EPCOR contract.
Did we vote on this last motion?
We
Oh,
haven't voted.
yeah,
We need to
we
vote.
didn't vote, no, sorry. Anyways, the motion that was read. All in favor? Carried. I thought we did.
Did we vote?
I thought we voted. Yeah, I thought we'd voted.
Double voted now.
Oh, well, all right, we double voted.
Bring Mr. Walls in.
We didn't vote.
Yeah, thought we had, but
No, we never
No, we
voted.
didn't vote. Yes, we did. We'll watch the camera.
try and get along, please.
Did we vote? Run it back. I want to know.
We did vote.
Yeah. Oh. Did I take? Next item on the agenda is the EPCOR contract, and I'll accept a motion, please.
Your worship, I'm prepared to make a motion.
I'm prepared to accept your motion, sir.
Oops. I move the council approve the mayor and CEO to sign the amended and restated wastewater and storm drainage utility services agreement between the town of Strathmore and EPCOR Services, Water Services Incorporated.
Thank you very much. Questions? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. And that's all of the stuff in regards to the committee of the whole
Worship,
meeting.
I'm prepared to make a motion. Go in camera.
Yes, I will take a motion to go in camera. We have a motion to go in camera. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.